Welcome, everyone, to the Pint and Click Podcast. My name is Caleb.
My name is Greg.
And we're going to talk to you about your favorite video games. So grab a pint of your favorite drink and a nice comfy chair. Why don't you strap on that Master Sword? We'll dive into this.
Caleb, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing real good, Greg. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. I'm doing real well. Coming off the first episode, we're starting on episode 2 here. The cold open was a disaster last week. I have to come clean on that right now. A little background information for everyone. Oh, I really got Caleb on that one.
You really did.
A little background information is, I think it happened throughout most of the continental United States, but we got some snow this weekend. So I really had a good chance to kind of get some gaming time in.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So, without any further ado, let's just jump right into the topics, I think.
Yeah,
Caleb, what have you
why
got
don't
for me?
start us off,
Oh,
Greg?
I'll start us off.
Wow.
Hey, we're both two friendly dudes, just trying to share the time.
Both two friendly dudes. Yeah,
Well,
Greg, you start us off
You know
this
what?
week.
You started us off last week. I will take it and start this week.
Please do, sir.
So, Caleb, the game that I am bringing to you this week is called the Gunk. Have you ever heard of the Gunk?
Oh, I haven't, no.
So the Gunk is a game I picked up on Game Pass, just kind of off a whim, you know. That's the great part about Game Pass is that you can pick up stuff without having to worry about the financial investment of it. It wasn't the first time I've played this game. I tried it before and kind of bounced off quickly. But this time the game's really stuck with me. My best way of describing this game is a mix between an adventure game and power wash simulator.
Really?
Yeah, so it's basically like an adventure game where you kind of traverse through this kind of 3D platforming world, a mystery in a alien planet as far as you land on it, and it's brand new to you. And then you have this weird arm attachment that, I don't know if you want to call it a gun or something, but regardless, you then come across this black, what they call the gunk, and your job is to suck it up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. And you can correct me if I'm wrong here. The graphics kind of remind me of the graphics of It Takes Two.
Yeah, similar. The character shapes are very similar as far as like their kind of shorter dimensions and you know whatnot. It's really the first gunk type game, you know. That's what I'm gonna tell. That was my big joke that got derailed, if you will, pun intended by the train.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, what? Explain to me. What's a gunk type game?
So you go around, you suck up your gunk. You really, it's just kind of a barrier to give you something to do, so you're not just traversing around the world, you know.
Yep.
And then you're collecting resources like metal and other things. And once you've gathered enough resources, you go back to your ship and you upgrade to get new things. Like there's a like laser shot. That might not be the exact name of it, but that is the idea, and that allows you to get through certain other parts of the puzzle or other parts of the world. And really, the whole thing is kind of just a chill, like, go around, clean up gunk, do these light 3D platforming puzzles, and discover the world as the main character is.
Yeah, it looks very interesting.
Now, I don't think this is one of those games that's like, I don't think it's a great game. You know, I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. I don't think it's a masterpiece by any means, but it's a little game. Got off a Game Pass. It's probably 4 hours long. I think I'm about halfway through. And it just makes me feel kind of cozy when I play it. And it's just a nice little game to jump into.
Yeah, I got off before I could look. Is it an indie game?
I think so. I don't know who published it off of the top of my head, but I don't think any of the major studios published this game. One interesting thing I did come across when I was looking at Metacritic was that all of the like user reviews for the game on the different platforms were weighed down by a lot of like ones and zeros by people from Russia that were saying there wasn't a Russian voice in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The interesting thing was a lot of those were in late 2021, but in February of 2022, the developers released an update that added like photo mode and also like 4 more voices for the character, with Russia being one of them. So,
nice, yeah.
like, now a lot of the 1 and 0 star reviews are irrelevant and are kind of nullified and maybe unnecessarily weighing down the Metacritic score or the user scores for all of these games. But luckily, I think that update was the only notable piece of news regarding Russia from February of 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. On that topic though of reviews though, I do think that's a good point that I don't think gets talked about a lot, but especially with like what I would only call like redemption games, like if a game launches in sort of a rough state and then it gets patched and gets better and stuff, that's one thing that sucks is you still get all these negative reviews that are probably from updates long ago and stuff, before there was better mechanics or new content and stuff.
Right.
But they still stay there, and it still weighs the game down. And I'm surprised how many games I've looked at, and like before I even find recent reviews, I find old ones.
Yeah. And the kind of interesting thing about that is, do we look at reviews as a time capsule of when they were made, and when the review was made? Because that's really what it comes down to. What you're looking for in a review is, I can look at reviews and try to decide if I want to play a game. But honestly, like in the situation with the Gunk, where there wasn't a Russian voice, that doesn't affect my play experience,
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a review from a week after the game came out when it was very broken also might not affect my play experience, because the game's had enough patches and whatnot that it runs well now. So that is kind of an interesting thing about the downside of reviews, and why I don't think you can always just look at a review score as being the end-all be-all on if a game is good, or even if you're going to like a game.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with, I think the best game reviewer is always going to be yourself,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think I can watch game reviews. I watch game reviews mainly as a way of seeing what a game is like, and less about taking somebody else's opinion over my own. Like, I've watched countless reviews that have said these games are bad, and I still go out and play them. And sometimes I find games that, like, might have gotten review bombed, or just has a lot of negative press about it, and sometimes I really like them,
Mm-hmm. I think that's a point to, like, almost, like, especially with video reviews, they're much more useful as entertainment, or to get your eyes on the game for yourself, instead of, like, with written reviews. I don't think it's super useful, because, like you said, there's so many, like, review bombs, or just, different tastes in games, That's why I think, at least with a video review, it can be a little more entertainment, but also something that you can actually see and almost get a little bit of a idea of how the gameplay would feel if you're playing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, Caleb, I'm going to end off my section of this, of my topic, my first topic here, with what I'm deeming Greg's unhelpful review of the week.
Nice. Lay it on me.
This is from Steam for the game The Gunk, and the review reads, "I like it, ... and you may too."
I'm glad.
I thought that was a nice, wholesome review, but also very unhelpful.
Well, he tried.
Yeah.
He said you might.
You might. He did tack on a, you might like it.
You might, yeah.
I'm not gonna...
You may enjoy this.
Yeah, like, really tampering expectations there. Like, I don't want to be held responsible if you don't like it.
Yeah, can we make that the tagline of our podcast? You might like it.
I think, welcome to the Pint and Click Podcast. I like it, and you may too.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and you may too. Now, Caleb, tell me what you're bringing for your first topic this week.
So I'm glad that we talked about reviews and that kind of stuff, because the game I want to talk about is man, what hasn't been said about this game, both the positives and the negatives. I'm bringing Cyberpunk 2077 to the table.
Okay, I've heard a little bit about this game.
Oh, I would imagine, you might like it.
You may not.
Yeah. So I go through periods of time where I just want Skyrim-like RPGs,
Mm-hmm.
Skyrim will forever be one of my favorite games. And every now and then I just go through these periods of wanting to play more RPGs like Skyrim. And so today, or not today, sorry, this week, I guess, I landed with playing Cyberpunk 2077, and it's been a ride. You know, I've played this game. This is my third time coming back to the game. My first time I played it, it was back on launch day, and it was a mess. I had a last-gen copy of the game, so, you know, I was expecting bugs and stuff, but...
And last-gen PS4, which I think has kind of been considered the worst of the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not good. There were a couple times where I would get to a certain point, and my game would crash consistently at that point, and it was, like, at the very beginning of the game. And so that wasn't fun. And then the second time I went into the game, I went on it with PC, and it was better, way less buggy. But I'm just for RPG kind of stuff, I'm just not a keyboard and mouse guy. And so I got pretty far. I completed about like 90% of the main story, and then for whatever reason I fell off of that. And now this time I'm going back on it with the PS5 version, because I've decided I just need those controllers, and those adaptive triggers are just so fun.
Yeah, it's still the reason that like I'm jealous of the PS5 as an Xbox console guy.
They're just good. They make everything feel better, and like I already think the shooting was okay in Cyberpunk, but playing with adaptive triggers just makes any shooting game so much better. You could take the worst of the worst, and I bet you'll still have at least a little fun using those triggers. But anyways, yeah, so I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077, and there's a lot of things that they've updated and changed, and there's some really cool things. They've done a lot to make the game feel, I mean, for starters, less buggy, but also they've added in a lot of features that I think they're features that should probably just be standard in your RPG games, but, you know, at least they added them in eventually.
Right.
But, like, the ability to redo your character and stuff and change customization things about them, I feel like that should always be a part of a game. And they added it a little late here, but at least they added it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool. And yeah, and they've done a lot with, like, you know, in typical RPG fashion, your clothes have, you know, like a damage resistance to them, right? And as you play the game, you find new pieces of clothing and armor and stuff that boosts your damage defense, and you collect these, and, you know, they don't follow a certain theme, you know what I mean? So each piece you get is going to look different from the last one you get, or it might look the same. The problem of that is that, you know, you get a character that looks like, you know, just nuts. You know, you get these funky looking characters because of the clothing you have to wear to boost your defense, so you can go through these harder missions and stuff. And it might be anything from, like, leopard print skin tight pants to, like, a blazer, you know? So, like, the clothing's wild, and it changes incredibly throughout each piece you get. But luckily, one of the things they added is a wardrobe. So now you can get all of these clothing items that you like the looks of, and you can make a look that just kind of gets, like, pasted over whatever armor you're wearing. So you can keep changing and getting better gear, all the while, you know, your character won't look stupid, you know?
See, that's the kind of thing I kind of tend to like when you have to go through the periods of having the goofy-looking characters, because that's just the best stats, clothing in an RPG. Yeah. I think it's pretty funny. Now, I can understand wanting to have the, like, consistency of clothing, because I think I always also kind of get to that point in the end game. Like, I spend way too much time finding crafting a full, like, real good set of armor for Geralt in The Witcher 3 after I had done most of the stuff I was going to do in that game. It was just like a different part of the game that I wanted to do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really big on customization stuff. I don't have a problem admitting I'm definitely one of those people that'll spend like easily anywhere from like a half hour to a full hour just making a character I like and making sure things are the way I like them. And that it counts too for clothing and stuff. I like. I actually, Maddie and I were talking about this a while ago. I have a really hard time playing a game if I don't feel like I like my character. You know what I mean? I can't play. I can't play like in a joking way. Like when Maddie plays games, she'll just go nuts with the character customizers and make the most hideous creatures you've ever seen.
She's just in it for the bits.
Yeah, absolutely. But we were talking about it though, and she was telling me that she actually like feels closer to her character in a strange, funny way if she can like make them look ridiculous and stuff. And it's different preferences for different people. But no, I definitely like to play a serious game when I play, and like I like my character to not have a pink wild hat while I'm running around the streets of a neo crime ridden city. But yeah, so they have been adding a few things that are pretty cool. And with the release of that Edge Runners show they had on Netflix, I think that got a whole bunch of people playing again. So they did some more updates since then. But here's where the bad comes. I still don't feel like they fixed the core issues with the game, which to me wasn't even how buggy it was, but instead, going back to, we talked a bit about it in the last episode, talking about the emptiness of a world, there's a bunch of NPCs, and like they have these conversations and stuff, and you can sometimes hear them, but then other times you'll walk down the busiest street you've ever seen in a video game, and it'll be quiet, and I mean like dead silent. And it doesn't feel natural, and like the vehicles don't tend to make that much noise, so like it really feels sometimes that like you're just the only actual person in that game walking around.
And while we're on the topic of vehicles,
yeah,
the vehicles in that game are very floaty and weird. They don't feel that good to drive, in my memory at least.
Oh, yeah, they don't. And that was one of the things I was hoping they would fix with these updates and stuff. Doesn't feel like it. They might have put out updates for it and tried to fix it, but I was having a hell of a time playing the other day just trying to drive a motorcycle. Not even like doing crazy stunts with it or anything, but just keeping it on the road and keeping it straight while I do turns and stuff, and it does not feel good. It definitely feels like weightless and not great. And I've had bugs still, like where I was driving a motorcycle and it just kind of subtly just started going through the floor a little bit. I was getting closer and closer to the pavement, So I don't know. There's still a lot of issues with the game. What they have fixed feels good though, and that's the thing. I don't want to hate completely on Cyberpunk because I think the gun gameplay feels amazing. I really like the combat, especially with these adaptive triggers. It really feels just good, and like using the bladed weapons was always fun. You get like the perks that make it so you're more damage resistant while you sprint towards enemies, so you can use the swords and knives and stuff. And no, overall, I think that kind of gameplay is really fun. But where it starts to fall apart for me is just this all of the bugs and the driving, and when you have an objective that's so and so far away, right, and you have to either walk there or take a vehicle there, it just feels like a chore.
Yeah, that game, I think the way I would describe it is that game has good bones, but there's a lot of stuff around it that just isn't it, for lack of a better term. Like, environment of that game has the chance to be so cool, and they pull it off in points,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that there are parts of that game, especially story-wise, where it's really excels in, like, they do the environmental storytelling really well, and it looks great. I think I'm really hopeful that, like, whatever, I don't think we have an official name for the next Cyberpunk game, but they're making it. I'm really hopeful that they can kind of build on the good from Cyberpunk 2077 and make a really fun Cyberpunk world, because that's a world that I really do want to just dive into and have some almost just GTA style fun in, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things I think they did right was like all of the available I don't know if you'd call them companions or not, but like the relationships that you can build more in that game with certain characters, all of those felt really well done.
I
And
completely agree.
yeah, and the stories to them were great. The characters felt actually alive and actually like they had emotions and stuff, which is not something you always see in games, you know. And especially in games like the RPG I'm comparing this to, like Skyrim, for instance. I love Skyrim, but when you get to a certain point with most companions, they just start feeling lifeless and like they don't have that much to say anymore. And I feel like even after beating the companions' missions in Cyberpunk, you know, they would eventually get to the point where they say like the same 3 lines of dialogue, but even then the dialogue was still convincing enough where like, oh yeah, they're saying hi to you, but like they also know that you have shit to do in the game still, so they're not gonna waste time talking to you, which was cool. And no, I do wish that they would do more with the companions thing. Like I would love to see companions that can travel with you and fight with you. That would be really cool. But yeah, they absolutely nailed the getting those followers or companions, whatever you want to call them. They nailed getting the emotion across in those and the stories for those. So yeah, that's definitely a huge plus for Cyberpunk.
When I first played that game, I got right up to the final mission and tried a couple times. I can't remember. I was on the nomad path, and I tried a couple times to get through, and I just kept getting stuck in like the final mission of the game. You know, the final mission of that branching story, and it was just
Yep.
like, why am I? I've gotten to this point. It's been kind of a slog to get to this point at a couple times, a couple points as far as like, I, I didn't the main story of the game is almost the weakest part. I feel like.
Yeah, honestly, when I replay the game, that's the part I dread the most. Actually, is all of the main story. Like, especially because you're in such a such a long, almost tutorial. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really get to explore until after you do the big Arasaka heist, right?
Yeah.
And then after that you're finally able to like go to the rest of the map, but that's such a long intro. We're talking like that's got to be at least an hour to 2 hour long intro, you know.
It's funny because when you compare that game to like The Witcher 3, and granted, The Witcher 3 had its fair share of issues at launch. They did from what I understand. I only played that game a couple of years ago, so I'm just speaking on what I've heard. But like they did have a similar trajectory of like some issues at launch and kind of a long tail on updates that fix the game. But like, man, there are just so many ways where The Witcher 3 feels right in almost every way where Cyberpunk wasn't able to stick that landing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've beat The Witcher twice now. So fun, and even replaying it, it stayed so fun and so engaging. Um, and the main quest did too. I have a rut with the Witcher quests that we can talk about another time. But yeah, that's one of the things I think Cyberpunk doesn't completely nail for me is getting those main missions, keeping them fun and keeping them engaging. And like I like the whole Johnny Silverhand plot, but the third time doing it has felt like just the most boring activity I've ever done in a game. And like I know the story now, I know the characters, I know what's gonna happen. Those Johnny Silverhand missions, for me at least, lose all fun when you get to the however many times replaying them.
Yeah, it's too bad too because I mean I've only played it once, but it feels like there's some wasted. I don't want to say wasted potential, but wasted. Like you got Keanu Reeves, and then you have him play a character that's kind of not really that enjoyable, and I, I guess it doesn't have to be. You know, actors that are super likable in real life don't always play super likable people in the media they're in. But man, it feels like if you're gonna get Keanu Reeves to be a part in your game, make him cool like Johnny Silverhand, but make him likable like Keanu Reeves. And that was something that I remember kind of stuck in my craw about that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. I can't stand Johnny Silverhand in the game. He's kind of a douchebag to everybody. And I know that that's like his character, and like he's supposed to be like badass and whatever. I don't enjoy it, and I think yeah, they if they made him a more likable character, I think it would be more interesting. And I think even that alone would make me more willing to replay those segments.
Mm.
But like, I hate sitting through just the dialogue and the scenes where he's just being a massive tool to everybody, and it's
Yeah.
like okay. But yeah, I think overall, Cyberpunk is worth a play if you can get past the intro missions and then just do the fun side quests. And there's tons of side stuff that is fun, and it is one of those games where like I do feel like at a certain point when you've played one mission, you've played them all. At a certain point, until you get to that point, there is a lot of fun stuff to do. There's all of those like bounty targets and fun things that like I don't even remember to do half the time. And then all of a sudden, something will pop up about it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a thing I can do in this. That's another gameplay feature I can explore.
Yeah. It's I think it's like I said, I guess my last thought on it would be I'm hopeful that the sequel can do at least most of what the original promised.
Yeah, absolutely. My final thought I'll leave with Cyberpunk is you may like it.
I sort of like it, and you may too.
Yeah.
All right, Caleb. Well, how about we jump into my second topic here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we picked the name Pint and Click with a very different concept in mind originally. I know
We
you
did.
you are aware of that, but for people who are listening, it's originally was going to be kind of a video series that we did, but we liked the name so much that we stuck with it for the podcast. But Caleb, luckily, I've come up with a great idea to retroactively fit the name to the podcast.
Lay it on me.
So this won't be a regular feature on the show, but right now, for my second topic of the week, it is time for the refreshment roundup. Now what this is, Caleb, is I'm going to bring to you a little drink that I may have purchased over the weekend and tried, and I'm going to give it a ranking for you and tell you about it. So are you ready for this?
Yes, please do. Let's do it.
This weekend, I bought myself a 6-pack of Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy.
What a name.
Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy. I knew you would like the name. So it's not the right season, but I saw it. I saw it at the CVS and I needed it. It's kind of your average lager beer. It's mixed with a lemonade flavor. That's the big kick. That's what makes it the Summer Shandy. Is it's got like a lemonade flavor. Important to say, it's not a lemonade beer, and it's not a beer mixed with lemonade. Specifically, on the bottle, it is a lager beer mixed with lemonade flavor. So at 4.3%, this beverage is good for a relaxing evening around the house where your sole intention isn't getting drunk. That was my little ad copy. It's a smooth drink, it's refreshing, but overall, Caleb, it's not remarkable.
Okay.
It's a good drink, I would drink it again. I'd get it again. 4.3, as I said. It's not going to get you too drunk if you have a couple and enjoy your evening playing Mass Effect or whatever you will. So overall, on the official Pint and Click refreshment scale, which, as we all know, goes from 1 to 10 with no decimals, I think I'd have to give the Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy a 6.
Okay, that's not bad. Now, there's always one follow-up question for each rating, and that is, would you... That question is, if you were gonna sit on your couch, get all relaxed, maybe there's a nice crackling fire next to you, would you grab a pint of that? Will you play a game?
Caleb, I definitely would. I thought you were going to ask me what game would I pair with this drink, which is an incredible question, and I think it might have to be the official question of the refreshment roundup.
That is the new question. That's an incredible idea. You just came up with that on the spot.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
That's real good.
That was amazing. Yeah. So Greg, what game would you pair?
What game am I pairing with the Summer Shandy? That's a really good question. Now, I think like the name implies it's a summer drink, so I'm kind of trying to mull over summer games in my head. What I would kind of think of being as a summer vibe in a video game. And you know what I'm going to settle on? It might not be the best answer, but if I'm sitting on a couch enjoying a nice summer shandy, the game I'm pairing with it is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Really?
I think so. It's is there any more of a summer vibe video game than the soundtrack and the rays of sun beating across Los Santos and all of the just like Hollywood style of GTA 5? I don't think so.
No, it's funny you say that because to me, GTA 5 has always been more of I enjoy it way more when it's nighttime in the game. And then you got those cool city lights, you got the neon, you got the moon, and you get those reflections in your car while you're cruising through, listening to some absolute bangers.
But Caleb, are you telling
now
me
for
you're
the
not going to the club and getting yourself a nice Leinenkugel summer shandy?
you know, if I was, I think a good summertime game. If we're going with the theme of summer here, I think Mario Sunshine.
I really like that. That is a good summertime game.
Yeah, listen, Mario can drink. He's probably old enough at this point.
He's got to be. He's a plumber. You can't be. I do not believe there are any licensed plumbers that are under 21.
When you jump that many barrels, you get served at a bar.
So anyway, Caleb, that's the refreshment roundup. Like I said, I don't think it'll be every week because I don't want to appear like an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. I know we talked a little bit beforehand, and your game rotation was a little light this week. But do you have a second topic for me?
I do have another game that I could touch a little bit of base on, and for the big part of this, let me talk about that. Yeah, the game rotation is what I've been doing lately. There hasn't been enough that's been coming out to keep me hooked. Hogwarts Legacy was the last game that I really got attached to, and then I got I completed the main story. I completed a lot of side quests, and then I just kind of realized that all of the side quests and extra activities you can do all kind of felt the same. And that doesn't make me not like the game or anything, but it does make me want to play other things. So some games that I've been hopping around with, and we can talk a little bit about each one or just one of them. But some games I've been hopping around on right now. I have been playing Far Cry 6. I've been playing Divinity: Original Sin, and then I've been throwing in some survival games, just for the fun of it. Specifically, a very broken survival game, well known that it's broken. Stranded Deep.
No, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
those are the three I've been rotating between.
my ears perked up when you said Divinity: Original Sin. So I would really like to have get some more information on that because that doesn't strike me as a Caleb game at all to me.
Yeah. So yeah, it's specifically Divinity 2. It's funny because they also don't strike me as games that I would play, but I've lately I've been getting more into D&D and that kind of stuff, and especially now that I'm in a new house and stuff, and we're still getting things set up over here. So I've been I put my newly acquired RPG books on a shelf, and they just looking at them makes me want to play them, and so I've been getting into these more D&D-style games, and one of those is Divinity. Divinity 2 is what I've been playing a little bit of here and there. I played it a long time ago just to try it, and I got a decent way through it. I completed the tutorial, but I didn't get a ton further than that, and I decided I'd give it another shot, and now I know why I didn't get a ton further than that. The game's hard, man. As somebody that has never really played games like this, it's hard. I've gone through a couple battle encounters where I just keep getting spanked.
Literally. It's really weird that they have that in the game where the enemy just bends you over their knee.
Yeah, it's weird too because it's been these giant insects that have been doing it. So Not fun.
Hey, there's a
But
section
yeah,
of the
no,
internet that will love that.
yeah, yeah, right over there with Show Feet Guy. Um, Shout out to Show Feet Guy.
Shout out.
Um,
Please follow.
but yeah, no. The game's fun. I like it a lot. I like a lot of the mechanics. It really does just feel like D&D in a video game form. So I experimented with that a little bit. What I'm really waiting for is Baldur's Gate 3 to come to PlayStation 5.
I am waiting for that game to get officially released, and then I'll probably still wait for a price drop because it's the notorious Greg line of Game Pass has broken me on paying full price for any games. But I'm really paying attention on Baldur's Gate 3. I want to get that game and see what it's about.
Yeah, I've played it on PC. I played it, it's not fully out yet. So I played it on PC, and I played it up to the point where the game said you have to wait, which was a real bummer.
Yeah.
But and that was forever ago too. They've probably added more content since then on PC. But yeah, I've played it a bit on PC, and I loved it. That is, like, when this full game comes out, without a doubt in my mind, it'll easily become one of my favorite games. Because it is D&D, like it's made with, like all these D&D things, and it is. I'm pretty sure, isn't it branded by the Dungeons and Dragons like companies now?
Yeah, I think it's like they're licensing D&D to in the game. I'm kind of speaking out of no knowledge there, but I feel like that is correct. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I know that their logos are in the game and on things for it. So I don't know, how exactly they're related. I don't know what owns what. But yeah, no, the game is quite literally D&D, and it's insanely fun. It's another difficult game. They definitely kept the true spirit of like playing a tabletop game with friends, where like, depending how you played with your friends, but like, yeah, there's definitely going to be encounters that you're not going to do very well at. But no, it's an amazing game, and I'm really waiting for that to come out on PS5 because as much as I love it on PC, I just don't play my PC enough, and I tend to gravitate more towards my consoles.
Mm-hmm. No, Caleb, this is a heat check. A heat check, as they say in basketball. I don't know if you're familiar with the term.
I'm not. No.
So when a basketball player is doing real, like, making all his shots, it seems like he can't miss. Take like a 3-point shot from like 10 feet out behind the 3-point line, and they call that a heat check, to see how hot he really is.
Yeah.
So this right here for me is a heat check because I had the idea of comparing the refreshment roundup beverage to a game. So I want to see if this idea is as good. So hear me out.
Okay.
It's called Pint and Cut. Now you're thinking, what's that possibly going to be? It's a D&D spin-off of the Pint and Click podcast.
I love it. I'm in. It's happening. Already done.
First
episode's up already. Go watch it.
Go watch it now. I think we could probably workshop the name. That was just kind of, as I was listening, that was what came out. But
yeah, I like it. We could, pint and dice, pint and roll. I don't know. Yeah, we'll workshop it. Don't worry. It'll happen though. Listen, I've been itching to play more D&D because I used to play with my brother, but quite frankly, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but his DMing is just not for me. I think what it actually is I like to DM mostly. I think I'm more of a DM than a player at most times. But no, yeah, I would absolutely do a D&D thing. That'd be great.
Might have to be like a supplementary kind of content instead of its own complete spin-off, one episode every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because
that's all you got to do.
Yeah, I just started school today, and as I was describing this idea, I had a panic attack of where am I going to find the time to do it. Just kidding.
I get you.
So, but yeah, we'll keep that idea in the coffers, and like Caleb said, the first episode's out now.
Yeah, already out. Go watch it. Download it. Stream it on Hulu.
Reviews are saying, I like it, and you may too.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, going back to Divinity though, that's kind of my substitute until oh my god, I forgot the game we were talking about.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate, that's the one. Yeah. Thank you, Greg. Yeah, Divinity's my kind of my substitute until that comes out, and it's an okay substitute. It does the D&D thing very well. It's very fun. And it's it's not a licensed D&D game to my knowledge, so like you don't have like the dragonborn race. Instead, you just have like lizard folk and stuff, which is always fun. But no, it's definitely, if you want to play a video game version of D&D, that'll absolutely scratch the itch until the new Baldur's Gate comes out.
I love to hear when people play games that I don't typically think are them games. You know how I would classify that. Games that fit what I would normally think would be something they would like. And for me, I'm gonna take a third topic here today. No, I'm just kidding. But for me, I think a game like that is I recently started Ni no Kuni again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got the first hour into that on the Xbox, and man, that game starts real fun. And I mean, like, I'm hoping I don't hit the same wall I did last time, and I can keep working my way through it, because, I mean, what's not to like about an RPG from the people that made Dragon's Quest that has, like, writing and cutscenes by the Studio Ghibli folk?
Yeah, absolutely. It's which one are you playing?
I'm playing I think it's the first one. It's the White Witch one. Wrath of the White Witch. Is that the one of
the president?
The president?
Yeah. Is that not the one of the president?
Don't know if I'm only an hour in, so I'm not sure. Joe's in the game?
Okay, then I'm thinking it's not the one of the president, because I played one where you play as the president and you get thrown back in time right in the beginning of the game, and you're the president with a sword in medieval times, but you also have a gun. So I don't think this is the same one. But yeah, I couldn't get into that one, probably because you play as a president with a gun. But
Caleb, I think you're describing Saints Row 4.
I know, yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't think these are the same game. I know there is a second.
It is a Ni no Kuni game, I believe.
There is a second one
of
them.
Not that one, then. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that might be. I might save that. I might save Ni no Kuni for a future episode, so I don't. Once I've put a little more time in it, so I'm not gonna go into any more detail on that now, and save that for a potential future episode.
Yeah, absolutely. How are we doing on time, Greg?
I mean, we've run a little short today, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we've talked about the things we need to talk about, and I think we wrap this one up and head on to go play some games.
So, you listener, how about you do us a little favor and you subscribe, or you I don't know, follow. What are the buttons nowadays? Yeah. I'm not hip with these kids.
It's always different on whatever platform you get it on too. So
hey, whatever platform you're on though, give us a like, give us a shout. You wanna see us talk about your favorite game? No, but hey, give us a like anyway.
So, and as always, if you have any complaints or concerns about this podcast and you want to let us know,
send them to Amazon.com.
Send them to Amazon.com. And if you didn't get 2-day shipping on your loofahs that you were promised 2-day shipping on, let me know.
That is my fault. I'm in charge of that, and I've let you down.
Shout into the void, and we will take care of that. Anyway, Caleb, we've done another one.
Yeah.
I think
we've done another one.
I will talk to you next week, good sir.